I guess I believe that if you actually come to the city and walk around, you see that this is still a viable place. When people are most excited about Portland, they were over glamorizing it. When people are down on Portland, they're kind of over doomifying it. People don't realize, like in the 90s or 80s, it kind of sucked. Like downtown sucked. Like if you've been here the whole time, it's like there's other eras when things were awful. There's always opportunity. I mean, it just always is. But are you willing to sacrifice to get it? I mean, if you're looking for easy money, then yeah, maybe this isn't the place anymore. We may not be the city that the world looks at, like the overhyped Portlandia era, but it's still a place that has a lot of like those kind of intangible resources that make things possible. I mean, one of the key foundations of like what makes this city great for like a food scene, which kind of fuels a lot of other things, is that we're in an agricultural region where there's like this valley, and there's like you can grow things, you can grow vegetables, you can grow this, and then there's like to the west we have like we have the fruit orchards, and over to the east we have reverse those. To the west, we have the winemakers, right? So we have this very varied agricultural climate where you can grow things. That alone is like a building block to having like a food culture. The whole joke about 300 miles of food, I mean, that's kind of bullshit. But, you go to Vegas, there's no food anywhere else. They have to truck in tomatoes every day. We had physical beauty. That's also another kind of foundation, is we're in this beautiful place. Like, it's still going to be beautiful. Rivers, mountains, everything nearby. I mean, that beauty is not going away. The agricultural is not going away. I think everybody falls in love with that city when they're a young adult in their 20s, and there's the things that are happening then that you just say, this is what it's about. People who've been here a long time, it's easy to kind of like latch onto a moment in time and say, oh, that's gone. But what I've also heard is so many people who have moved here being like, God, this city is so great. They're not beholden to their own flavor of nostalgia, and they're seeing the city with fresh eyes, and they see sort of like those natural advantages that are still here. I mean, the scale of the city, the physical landscape, like I said, the agriculture, that stuff's still there. So I think sometimes fresh eyes see it better than someone who feels a little bit, lost youth, whatever that is. When I first said, let's do this thing, I was like, what are people going to call it? Are they going to call it a micro distillery? Are they going to call it a boutique distillery? But I think what we decided on is we're going to call it a craft distillery. And I have a very particular idea of what craft is. And for me, like my definition of craft is very particular. It's the people making the product are also the people making the business decisions. So the difference between a chef-owned restaurant and a chain restaurant. Chain restaurant can provide you great, consistent food. A chef restaurant is going to provide you hopefully a little more passion and a little more experimentation depending on the whims of the chef. So to me, that's the difference. But at the end of the day, it's the people who enjoy what we make. They get to decide if it matters. When I first started, I had an intuition. I said that local will get you the first drink, quality will get you the second. And at the end of the day, you still have to produce a great product. If we're not striving for world class, I'm not saying we're going to be world class, but if we're not striving to get there, then we won't matter. But I think people like to know who's making their food, who's making their booze. But if it's not great, then it won't matter. Every market system has winners and losers, right? You structure the market, some people are going to benefit, some people aren't. There's no perfect system. There's no system that's going to be good for everybody. So in Oregon, right now, small companies have full access to the market. Like we can get to the liquor store shelf. Okay, so we can then compete with the big brands and just say, hey, here we are, choose us. We are available to the consumer. Our current business model favors small businesses the same as large businesses. Privatization really means big companies with big market share and low-cost products win. I don't like it. It's not a Portland thing. So what happens is privatization, you have this whole middle layer taking off profit, and then the taxes are the same. So Washington has like some of the highest prices in the United States. When most people say the city's dead, they talk about maybe downtown, which is definitely on the doldrums. But I walk in the neighborhoods and I see, go into new bars and restaurants and distilleries. Like there's still stuff happening here. It's still an exciting place to be, and I'm starting to feel it more, and I see people coming in and finding it. So yeah, this city's still alive in spite of what the media says from the outside. And part of me hopes they don't notice for a while so we can enjoy it without the hordes coming back.